When I was 11 years old, I lived in the city of Rochester, and I had a friend named Michael Egling whose father had train sets in the basement. Anybody got train sets in the basement? Okay. And you might have heard it before if you heard my CD, but I think it's on it. And we used to play with those train sets. There were 2 train sets on a 4x8 sheet of plywood. There were little villages, mountains, the whole bit. And we would play with those trains for hours. And it was a school night, a Wednesday night. We were playing along. And all of a sudden, Michael goes, "Holy mackerel! It's 12 minutes to midnight." And I went, 12 minutes to midnight? Now I'm 11 years old. You get home at midnight on a school night, what happens?
Your parents get mad.
Yeah, big time. That's a lot of trouble. And this is back in the 60s, 1961. I said, "Mike, I got to go." And I ran out of the house and I started walking down the road and I did something I know none of you kids have ever done before. I started making up an excuse. Well, maybe 1 or 2 if you'd done that, I don't know. And I worked on an excuse that I thought, if I can say this with a straight face, my parents will believe it. And as I was working on that excuse, I heard this thump, thump, thump behind me. And being a curious sort of person, I looked behind me, and there was a white coffin standing upright and bouncing down the road following me. Thump, thump, thump. Now, I don't know about you kids, but when inanimate objects move of their own accord, it kind of scares me. So I started kind of jogging down the road, and the white coffin sped up. Thump, 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 thump. I started running down the road as fast as I could, but the coffin was right behind me. Thump, 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 thump. I ran down the street. I ran through the gate, slammed the gate, went up on the porch. The coffin was right behind me. Thump, thump, crash right through the gate. Splinters went everywhere. I ran inside the house, slammed the door, locked it, put the chain on it, ran to the stairs. I could hear the coffin on the porch. Thump, thump, kablam! It split the door right in half. The coffin kept coming. I went running up the stairs as the coffin started up the stairs behind me. Thump, thump, thump. I grabbed a big oak chair and I threw it with all my might at the coffin. It just bounced off the coffin without any effect. The coffin kept coming. It was now halfway up the stairs when suddenly I got an idea. I ran into my bedroom, and there in the dresser I grabbed a small box. I came back to the top of the stairs and I opened the box up. The coffin was now 2/3 the way up the steps. It would be upon me soon. The coffin was getting closer and closer. I reached into that small box and I pulled out a cough drop and I threw it with all my might. And you know what? The coffin stopped.